Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. Last night the Prime Minister was accused of hypocrisy for learning te reo on the taxpayer dime. Today it turns out many national MPs have done it. And the row over Māori names for government entities also continues. Political reporter Lloyd Burr has the latest.
Kāinga Ora was created in 2019 by merging three public housing entities. Its English name is
Homes and Communities.
That's Housing Minister Chris Bishop, who wants the Māori name to stay.
Why are you using Kāinga Ora?
Because that's how it's known, that's its name.
But on page 9 of his coalition agreement with New Zealand First, it says, ensure all public service departments have their primary name in English. But Bishop's saying, not his one.
Kāinga Ora is known as Kāinga Ora, Homes and Communities. I don't know a single person who calls it Homes and Communities.
But that's exactly what his coalition partners want.
Significant majority don't understand that.
It should be called Housing and Communities. That immediately allows people to understand what it actually is and does.
It's called Homes and Communities.
Homes and Communities, well, exactly.
Both New Zealand First and ACT want Kāinga Ora changed to Homes and Communities.
Well, I haven't talked to ACT or New Zealand First about it, so I'm not necessarily going to take your word for it, Lloyd.
Well,
I've got to get into the house for Christian time.
I can show you on the camera what they see.
Okay. We're not going to go around pointing out small mistakes, but we'll get it right over time.
But 20 minutes later, Peter's pointed it out in front of everyone.
Could the Minister urgently put out a press statement explaining what Kāinga Ora means?
Peters himself refused to translate.
Oh, don't be so arrogant. Mate, I was around doing things for Māori before you were born.
Many MPs also struggling.
I've called it Housing New Zealand.
Housing New Zealand?
Yeah. Housing New Zealand.
I think a lot of these names are filigree.
Well, are you sure there's no discontent within New Zealand First and ACT about the use of Kāinga Ora?
It's not a conversation we've had.
The Prime Minister also coming under more pressure over this comment 2 weeks ago about public servants using taxpayers' money to learn te reo Māori.
In the real world, outside of Wellington and outside the bubble of Parliament, people who want to learn te reo or want to learn any other education actually pay for it themselves.
Turns out taxpayers paid for his own te reo Māori lessons and many of his MPs. Have you ever taken te reo Māori lessons?
Yeah, I did take some lessons. There was a course offered here for new MPs.
Yes, I did. When I first became an MP, I took a small number of te reo Māori lessons, which I funded out of my MP budget.
You pay for them yourself?
Well, that was all part of, actually it was when I was working at the Waitangi Tribunal.
So was it paid for by the taxpayer?
Probably was back in 1995.
Yes, I have.
And did you pay for them?
They were part of my parliamentary service budget.
He certainly seems to have a double standard. He sets one standard for himself and a different standard for everybody else.
Do you know now the cost of your te reo lessons to the taxpayer?
My office is bringing that together for you.
But 4 hours later, still nothing. Why is it so hard for your office to find out how much your te reo costs?
Oh, look, they'll provide that information in due course. Yep.
And that was 4 hours ago, and we're still waiting.
OK, Lloyd, are we still waiting on a decision about whether the Prime Minister can take the Air Force 757 to Australia tomorrow?
No, we're not, Michael. That decision came through just after lunchtime, and there is one 757 that's available to take Luxon and his entourage to Australia tomorrow to meet his counterpart, Anthony Albanese. So he'll leave tomorrow morning. But it has opened this big can of worms, this debate that's been going on for decades in subsequent governments about these ageing planes and what on earth to do with them. So he's tasked his new Defence Minister, Judith Collins, to go and look at all options, explore all these different options, whether it's buying new ones or if it's leasing planes or if it's chartering them or going commercial or private. And I'm sure there's a debate that's going to be going on throughout his entire parliamentary term. But right now, there is a plane and it's going to take off from Wellington tomorrow and take him over to Aussie.
Very good. Thanks for the update. That's Lloyd Burr live at Parliament.